What's going on, everybody? We're back with Sit Down Territory. It's me, Bahuki. Nolan's back. Lou's taking a little bit of a week off, which is fine. Everybody needs a week off before we gear up for football season, which is so close, but seems so far away with this preseason action that we're getting to now. We really just need real football games to be being played. But what we do have for you tonight are some week 2 overreactions, some underreactions, stud of the week, one takeaway no one's talking about from week 2, and then storylines nobody wants to talk about for week 3, or nobody has talked about for week 3. We definitely want to talk about it, but we haven't done it yet. So we are going, and also we're going to do the injury roundup at the end of the show. So yeah, let's just get into it. I can go ahead and start. Preseason week 2 overreactions is where we're going to start. Yeah, I'm sick of all the Mac Jones hype that he's been getting. Like it's deplorable, it's disgusting, and it's downright silly. How did we watch this dude play quarterback for the past 2.5 years? Like, he has zero arm strength. He has zero mobility. He's not that great in the pocket anymore. Like, he may have started that way. The Patriots broke him, and now he's a broken toy playing in Jacksonville against, backups. And it's just like, oh, look at Mac Jones. He's having a great camp. Why? Like, I'm hearing Patriots fans being like, oh, we should have kept Mac Jones and drafted Marvin Harrison. I'm like, dude, you guys did not watch the Germany game. That you can't make throws like that and expect to be a quarterback in the NFL. Like, you can't be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry. Like, he's a good kid, but let's stop with the hype. Like, let's remember why he's not a starter on a team anymore. 3 years removed from being a first round pick. Like, he was topped out at potential when he got drafted. He had one good year, and then everybody figured it out. And then also on top of that, he had a bad team and a bad offensive system being run. So all those things put together, get away from me with that. I don't want to hear any Mac Jones hype. Sick of it. No more. I could go my whole life without hearing that dude's name again. Straight up. Bahuki, why don't you go next? Yours is kind of about we're all doing quarterbacks for our overreactions. I like that.
Yeah, so mine was not quite like the conventional overreaction, but it's kind of just the way the NFL responded as a whole. And like they say that this league is like, a copycat league and, don't pay attention to the media and this and that. But I feel like the JJ McCarthy injury like shows that these teams totally pay attention to everything that's happening in the media. And we saw Bryce Young and Michael Penix sitting this week, and Drake May didn't start this week, but he played. Lamb.
Yes, he played about 4 series this week.
Yeah, and like preseason is not good for much. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but one of the good things it is good for is seeing the young guys in the position battles. When there's a real position battle, especially at the quarterback position, this is kind of like where you see guys duke it out. We saw that kind of happen with in the Bills Steelers game with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and no one has really separated themselves from there. Mike Tomlin's trying to make people
figure all that out,
make people believe he's confident in Russell Wilson, but I think but so yeah, my biggest overreaction was the JJ McCarthy injury. Like, it sucks when injuries happen, but you still gotta let guys play football. Like, because guys get injured in practice, guys get injured in games. Like,
you could have the perfect setup. Everything's set up for your young quarterback. He could go in there and get hurt. Like, yes, the chances of him getting hurt are more likely with a bad offensive line or bad supporting cast, but like injuries could happen at any time. So,
Yeah, that's how I feel, and I'm not, and of course I'm not wishing injuries on anyone. Whenever like I go into a game with a friend from a rival team, the always thing I say is, "Hey, no injuries." That's the one nice thing I'll say.
mhm.
And but you can't live your life in fear, especially in this sport. This is a gladiator sport, and if you're going out there like afraid to get hurt, or I feel like you're in the wrong sport.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Can't agree with that more. People don't want football to be a contact sport, but it's a contact sport and it's like a very physical contact sport. You need to be ready for it. That's what being a football player is all about. That's why they make all that money. Like, um, Nolan, how about you go next, and we'll get into the underreactions.
Yeah, absolutely. Just real quick, Tyler, I'm in the same boat as you as the Mac for the Mac Jones thing. I don't understand it. It is kind of wild that it's even getting like to a discussion point of
People
like,
love to hate
oh,
on the
how good is he doing?
Patriots. Like they want us to be wrong on that just so we can look
Yeah,
dumb. And
exactly.
keep wanting that. I don't care. You're not right, but like it's
Yeah.
okay.
No, yeah. And then Bahuki, I love what you had to say about the McCarthy injury. Like it sucks, but a lot of these teams were prepared to kind of move on. And the Vikings are in kind of a good situation where not all their cards were pushed onto McCarthy. Sam Darnold was already trending towards probably being week one starter. So it's not like their week one guy was just knocked out. Now, granted, your future is, but I love what you had to say with that stuff. Anyway, with my overreaction, I know Daniel Jones. This is his first game action back since his season-ending injury from last season. So this was kind of a coin flip as to how he was going to look, and he got the bad side of the coin. But even as a Cowboys fan, I can still say I'm not going to put all my eggs into one basket that this is how he's going to look all year long. Not many guys can bounce back from an ACL injury or knee injury and be at 100% ability and be at 100% just strength with everything. So I think it's an overreaction. Give him some time, allow him to get comfortable with some of these guys. They've had a lot of moving pieces over the offseason. I mean, if you go watch the Hard Knocks front office thing with them, they've been doing a ton of work and a ton of moves are happening with that team. So give him some time to get acclimated, with Malik Neighbors and company, with a new running back in Devin Singletary. There's just a lot of things he's got to get used to. And a preseason game is not something you should base your entire reaction on for a guy like Daniel Jones. Granted, the leash is short, and the Giants are probably a little hesitant on stuff, but I still think it's kind of an overreaction to say, well, we're done for already because Daniel Jones played one bad preseason game.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I've never bought into the Daniel Jones hate. I'm not buying into the Daniel Jones hype either. I think Daniel Jones is he is vanilla ice cream. Like he is slightly old vanilla ice cream. Let me put it that way. You're like, I could eat this and be okay. It's not really going to be
It was
awesome.
it was melted, but like you found out midway and you threw it back in the freezer, and you like came back and you're like,
Yeah, you're like, I mean, okay, I guess I'm going to eat it now. And like you end up being okay. Like it's fine. Like he won 10 games with an arguably worse team and then beat Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. Yes, they lost the next game in the divisional round, but Daniel Jones has won how many playoff games does Kirk Cousins even won? Any? I
Daniel
don't
Jones
think.
has more playoff wins than Tua Tagovailoa.
There we go.
It's
These
real
are
stat.
these are numbers that we like.
That's a real stat. Tell
You
all,
can
tell
throw
all your Dolphins friends.
you
Look
can
it up, type it up,
you can
Google it. It's the real thing.
you could throw Justin Herbert on that list as
Yep.
well. Not great. But yeah, so he also like who is Daniel Jones's best receiver that he's played with?
Yeah, that Darius Slayton has been his best wide receiver thus
And
far. So
yeah,
Malik
that's
Neighbors
not great.
is the first wide receiver one that he has played with.
Yes, so I mean, and like their offensive line got slightly better. I like the shout out you made for what's it called, Hard Knocks. I loved the Giants Hard Knocks. I can't watch the Bears Hard Knocks. Like it's boring. I don't know. There's something about having that off season, like watching the front office work and like how that actually like operates and like the behind the scenes little phone calls you get. You get to see the meetings between the players, not all of them, but like snippets, and that's fine. I just need a little taste. So like I actually said this a couple weeks ago when we were watching it. They shouldn't do like the training camp one. They should only do off season ones. You pick a whole division each year to do the off season for. You drop 2 episodes a week, and then each division, or I'm sorry, 2 episodes a week. Each team is done within like 3 weeks because that the Giants one was only 6 episodes. So you have 3 like that way you have NFL content being pumped out constantly throughout the year, and it's new, it's fresh. People want to see this. Like I like that. That is the most interesting part about like the football off season is how those things work. So yeah, very much up on Hard Knocks off season, very much down on regular Hard Knocks. Yeah, so with that, we can go into our underreactions. We were kind of talking about this before the show. The Chiefs wide receivers, man, they're a problem. Like nobody's really talking about this. Like they're a legitimate issue. Last year was Patrick Mahomes' Tom Brady 2006 season, where he was throwing to Rashay Caldwell and a bunch of paper bags out there. Golden Tate, I mean, Golden Tate was probably like 31 at that point. Like he was definitely past his prime. Great receiver, but I like Malik Neighbors is a different animal. Like this dude is like that dude. But yeah, so back to the Chiefs wide receivers. Rashid Rice, his court date is in December. He's probably not going to get suspended this year for his issues over the offseason. A lot of people were thinking that they were going to be down Rice and then Hollywood got hurt. People were like, oh, well, they're just back to the same thing. Hollywood should be back by week 3. Rice isn't going to miss any games. Xavier Worthy might be the fastest player on the field, and Travis Kelce's still there. Like, this is arguably the best skill, like, set of weapons Patrick Mahomes has ever had. Like, Tyreek Hill better than those, like, yes, like, but the sum of all these parts make you a harder offense to stop. Yeah, I know Nicholas Rice should get suspended. I already knew when I was talking about it, you were going to say it's not. He's going to get suspended. It's not going to be till next year. Like when Alvin Kamara had his whole thing.
Courts move slow. Like,
yeah, and then especially courts involved with the NFL, like they have to coordinate that whole thing. Alvin Kamara got into some issues a couple off seasons ago. He played a full season, then got suspended for 3 games the next season. So it's just. It is like we have to live in the reality of I just don't think so. The court date's not till December 6th. But anyway, yeah, so people have to deal with the players that the Chiefs have on their roster every Sunday. So what they have on their roster is very dangerous when you compare it or you add it to Patrick Mahomes. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody it's like the beast that's hanging in the back that you can't see in the dark. You're like, oh, nobody wants to like really talk about that. Yeah, because it sucks. Nobody wants them to three-peat except for Chiefs fans. Ugh.
Nolan, why don't you go with yours next? And then
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, kind of.
We're in the same ballpark.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So my underreactions here from week 2. I'm on the Chiefs train as well here. I was actually at the Chiefs Lions game, so I got to see the Worthy corner route. Got to see the end around. He did fumble it, but he recovered it. But just kind of based on what I'm seeing, I think an underreaction is the fact that I think Worthy's going to take away some valuable catches and some valuable possessions for Rashee Rice. Now, obviously, Rashee is going to be playing like we've been talking about. He's not going to miss time, and that be why he loses out on some possessions or some looks. But Worthy is going to kind of take on that tool role that Rashee took on last year, where you could use him in different looks and different packages that get him open and in space and make him more dangerous. Now, obviously, he is the deep threat. You have the speed, that's there, but they want to try to get some more freedom with him with the underneath routes and all those different things, the end reverse arounds, all that fun stuff. He's going to get involved a lot on this offense, and I think we're going to see a Rashee Rice regression of sorts, but not necessarily in a bad way. This offense is just going to get a little bit more altogether. And I mean, I'd be scared. Like I said, this is a dangerous team already. They won a Super Bowl in a year that nobody thought they would. And then they got a little bit better in some areas. So I don't see why Xavier Worthy couldn't take away some valuable looks for someone like Rashee Rice.
Wayne is not a Xavier Worthy guy.
I know.
As we all know from the draft content, which is great. We guys stay consistent. Like, you can't just start changing your feathers now.
I wanted to add something kind of based on something we were talking about pre-show. We were talking about the Bills trade with the Chiefs for Xavier Worthy.
Go for it.
I thought now was the time to bring that up.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about it, and one of the things I said was I think both teams are happy with what they got. And the Xavier Worthy profile was not a player profile that the Bills really needed to add to their offense. Kind of going with what Wayne was saying there. Like, we already have Khalil Shakir for that type of wide receiver, like a guy who's a burner and can make all kinds of plays with the ball in his hand. And Curtis Samuel is supposed to be that guy for us when he comes back. And Keon Coleman was really like that true like X, like that like split end, that big body receiver. And Wayne brought it up with like the size thing, and I know people are gonna say, like, size isn't everything. Look at DeVonta Smith. He's kind of an undersized receiver who can make things happen. But what's really important is building different types of player profiles for your wide receiver room. And I don't think Xavier Worthy was ever a player profile that the Bills were really considering at that position and in the draft. So people are going to hate on the Bills for for serving it up on a silver platter, so to speak, for the Chiefs. But with that being said, the Bills also got a third round pick back, and we're able to get a defensive tackle who they can fill in as a depth piece which they really, really needed. So I can live with it.
I get it. Like, it's just one of those things that it's just like the rich get richer, and like, you guys got what you wanted, but like, I'm just more frustrated. Like, I just don't want the Chiefs to three-peat. Not interested in that, and I think that might be a reason why they do. I think that's going to be a helpful thing for them. But again, if it helps your rebuild, like, that's really all that matters to you. I do get that.
It was just amazing to see that of all the teams to trade with Kansas City and trade who you go with for a wide receiver pick.
Yeah, it was unexpected for everybody, man. I can tell you that.
You know what I mean? I mean,
I was on draft night. I was not happy to have not picked in the first round. Like, after sitting there all night waiting for a pick, and now the Chiefs are picking.
Yeah, we did like a 5-hour show too.
Let me tell you, but now that time has gone by, and I try to look at this pragmatically and talk myself into it. But that's really what I believe.
No, sure. Yeah, I stick to your convictions. Do you want to do your last? No, you want to do your underreaction? You didn't do yours yet.
Oh yeah, so I kind of touched on it while I was doing my overreaction. I don't watch a ton of preseason football. I'm just going to be honest about that. I check on the highlights that I need to, and I check on my team. And one of the was so that left me with the Bills Steelers game this week. And one of the things I talked about, what is preseason good for? Position battles, specifically quarterback position battles. And the Steelers claim that they don't have one, but everyone who watches football knows that they have a position battle. And maybe it's Russell Wilson's job until it's not. But what I saw is incompetency by both quarterbacks. And mostly by their offensive line, because Troy Fatanu was out. I wish we could have had Austin here for this episode. It would have been really good to hear what he had to say. But yeah, Troy Fatanu was out. That's a big loss. Broderick Jones got bullied, man.
That play was bad. Gregory Rousseau threw him.
Yeah, he had a couple. He gave up like 2 or 3 sacks, I want to say. Like he really and he was one of those guys we really were hyping up in the draft process in the last couple of years. And he did not have a good day at the office against this Buffalo Bills defensive front. So I'll just go ahead.
Out there.
So I'm going to go ahead and go right into my preseason stud of the week because it goes right off of this. Joe Andreessen is a guy from Buffalo. He actually played football and wrestled with my youngest brother in high school at Lancaster High School in Buffalo, and then went on to the University of Buffalo. This guy had 12 tackles in this game, and it was all over the field. And was a 2-sport athlete. And McDermott was also a wrestler. For those that don't know, he was a 2-time Pennsylvania state champ. And so he looks for guys who have wrestling backgrounds. And we need someone to step up at linebacker because Balin Spector is also down injured. We lost Matt Milano. We're going to get to that later and talk about more of the Bills' injuries. But I'm really hopeful that this guy can step in and be something for us because it's a position that we desperately need. Another thing we were talking about with the Chiefs and just the problem that they are offensively, and everyone's talking about their wide receivers. Okay, rightfully so. The biggest problem with their Chiefs is the tight ends, man, and not only Travis Kelce but Noah Gray. That dude is a real difference maker. And if you're going to match up with 12 and 13 personnel, you need linebackers. You need guys who can step up, take on a block, and come off of it and make a play. And unfortunately, we've only had Teron Johnson and Jordan Poyer out there, and we have good DBs. But when they go out against those guys, they get bullied. And Isaiah Pacheco averages 6.1 yards per carry against us. That's the real issue. It's not their wide receivers. I can tell you. I've lived it.
I mean, last year it wasn't there. Now they have the wide receivers as well. Like they can hit you any way they want. They can go deep. They can cut you on the in routes with the wide receivers. They can hit you underneath. Now they can bring out heavy packages. They can run the football. They have a good defense. Like they have the best quarterback in the league.
They have great linebackers. Drew Tranquil.
Nick Bolton's a sicko.
Yeah, they're really, really strong on that side of the ball. I respect their linebackers a hell of a lot. But
Spagnuolo is just he cooks those defenses up as well. Like it's tough. I don't want to keep loving on the Chiefs. It's making me sick.
We talked about them a lot today.
I know. It's annoying. We're going to talk about them a little bit more too coming up on one takeaway. I am going to do my stud of the week. It's Caleb Williams, without a doubt, for me. That dude looks like a certified sicko already. Like, I know it's a little early to be slapping that term around, but like, good God, man, some of the throws that he can make, he's out there making it look easy in the step up in talent. You're just like, oh no, he's just running around against college dudes. No big deal. I mean, I know we haven't seen it with the ones, but like that type of presence, that type of feel in the pocket, the way he can move out and just
they haven't produced a lot of points with him yet.
That's no.
He's shown flashes, which you want to see.
Absolutely. I mean, like they had a couple of they had drops in their first game that shouldn't have happened, and then I think they had 1 or 2 penalties. But yeah, he showed you from a physical standpoint and from a mental standpoint, he can play the game, and like those are really. We were just looking for confirmation on that because we all knew he could play, and now we have that confirmation. And with the team that he is on right now, the Bears have a chance to make some noise, man. That defense is flying around on the other side of the ball as well. So, yeah, Bears fans, I know you waited a while to have like a good setup, but few people have that setup like you do right now. Let's
Probably the first quarterback they could be like legitimately excited about since like Jay Cutler.
Jim McMahon.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, Jay Cutler is pretty good at football. Dude's kind of a douche, but
I mean, he slung it. He just did not care.
Yeah, he absolutely he had
He's a true gunslinger.
Had a cannon.
Tyler, I know you said you don't like the Bears training camp or Hard Knocks, but
I think coming off of the off-season one into this one,
it's just very different.
Yeah, and I like the other one better. So it's not about the Bears. It's more about like the production and like what they're actually doing.
Sure. No, but I mean, I would say one of the positive things that you could pull away from that is the fact that, oh boy,
that's a take.
That is a take for sure. But
we'll just move on. But the take deserved to be shown.
They had a clip in there where they were preparing for the Hall of Fame game, and they were talking about how they're putting a workload on Caleb Williams every week as if he's going out there and he's playing a full workload. Now, granted, he's not actually going out there and playing 4 quarters of football, but the fact that they're preparing him for that this early on is really showing just kind of the belief that they have in him, and they know what his physical abilities are and his natural abilities are, to where you can give him that kind of workload. And I think that was really cool and special to see because, I mean, there's been plenty of guys where they come out of the draft early on, and even if you know that they are leaps and bounds maybe better than guys above them or even below them in their draft board, they might not develop nearly as quickly. Like there are situations where some of these guys are more equipped with what their team gives them on their plate right out of the gate, and Caleb Williams is one of the good examples of that.
Yeah, trust me, I'm on the other side of the coin with Drake May. Like it seems like Alex Van Pelt and the guys are trying to force feed their offense into Drake, and instead of building their offense around Drake. And not a fan of that. Don't love to hear that this close to the season. But Jacoby Brissett time is almost upon us, and he's just going to throw picks against twos in the preseason in the red zone. So, like, awesome that we brought you here to not turn the ball over, and you're turning the ball over. Really good job doing that. Your only job. Do you want to talk about your stud of the week?
Yes, I will knock that out real quick. So, another rookie name here, and we've already talked about him a little bit, is Malik Neighbors. I think he's had an incredible first couple of weeks in the preseason. Now, granted, Daniel Jones played like crap. We already know that, and we discussed that, but he still looked good. Neighbors still managed to go out there and take the workload that he had and turn it into something good. And we're going to talk more about Neighbors momentarily. Tyler, you're going to talk about him with your one takeaway, but they are putting a lot of confidence into this kid right away, and they know that he's going to be legit. And that was another thing. We keep talking about Hard Knocks. That was another thing that was exciting because they wanted Neighbors from the jump. Yeah, they did their quarterback talk, and they mentioned wanting to move up. Oh, hey, maybe we can move up into top 3 and get somebody. But from the jump, when they had all their meetings, Neighbors was on their radar, and they're like, I want this guy. He's a dog, and he would add to our offense quickly, and we're already seeing flashes of that even when he's in there with the 2s and the 3s. So this kid's legit, and that's why he's my stud of the week. I think he's only going to continue to get better. I'm worried as a Cowboys fan, we're probably going to have to put Trayvon Diggs or Deron Bland on him, and we'll just pray to God that they don't get burnt too badly.
I think Bland would get cooked. Bland is more of an opportunity guy who likes to get beat and then try and recover and make that play for a ball hawk type of player.
So it was Diggs
I
in
don't.
some situations.
I don't know if I don't know if Bland has the recovery speed to match that. But yeah, we'll get into our one takeaway no one was really talking about from week 2. You
You
talked about Malik.
might as well roll right into it. Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about Malik Neighbors. So it's kind of obvious he had a great week. He looked great, made some fantastic catches. But some of that nobody's really talking about his performance is that he had a 33% target share with the ones out there with the starters against starters. Like it was clear that this offense is going to run through Neighbors, and that that's just like from a fantasy perspective, not even an NFL perspective, that needs to excite you. Like a 33% target share as a rookie, as was he 21, and the dude can handle it and produce from it. Like we could see him get 160 targets be this year in this offense. Like Wan'Dale Robinson's an okay player, but like they use him as more of a gadget type of like, he has a certain set of plays that he's really good for. Jalen Hyatt, he is going to be stretching the field, not going to be a consistent volume guy. They have Darius Slayton, who's another boomer bust type of player who's never really been a volume guy. Theo Johnson's a rookie tight end who I do like, but like rookie tight ends typically take longer times to, get acclimated to the NFL. Other than that, they have Daniel Bellinger, Devin Singletary. Like Neighbors is the guy here, and he is going there. Like I trust Dayball to build an offense with him as their centerpiece, and they kind of showed that with 33% target share. That's peak Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers numbers that you're just like salivating for. Like that's what you want to hear. But yeah, so we can and all this was despite how bad Daniel Jones looked, and Neighbors still look that good. So if we can get representative quarterback play from Daniel Jones, sky's the limit for Malik Neighbors. Book, you want to go next?
Yeah, get the last of our Chiefs talk out of the way here.
Thank God.
So yeah, Kadarius Toney. I don't think that he makes the 53-man roster here. That's my takeaway from week 2 because we talked about it. This Chiefs offense has guys all over the place, especially at the wide receiver position now too. And as much as I say that's not the problem, it seems that they don't have problems there anymore, and they're not lacking athletic playmakers here. This is because I feel like this was kind of like a reactionary move on their behalf after Tyreek left. They were kind of looking at the player profiles that they had in that wide receiver room, and they didn't really have that true athlete like that guy, was just and for everything that Toney is and is not, he is athletic. But that's probably the only good thing I can say about his player profile, honestly. And
at this point, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, and I was talking about it pre-show. I was at that Bills Chiefs game in the regular season when he lined up offside, and I was up in the 300 level, and I saw that before it snapped. I saw the flag come up, and
you watched his career break.
Yeah, and even when Travis Kelce made that throw and everything, and I was not stressed at all. I'm not.
That's coming back.
That was me. Yeah, and Chiefs fans are like, no, it's this, it's that. And I'm like, no, he was offsides. I saw it, and and it did, and then they were quiet, in that moment at least. But then I remember that week following, after a huge win like that, you get texts from all your friends. Oh my God, the Bills beat the Chiefs, yada yada. And one of the ones I got a text from was my friend Mike Eisenberg. Lamb knows him. He's a big Giants fan, and that's what. And he was laughing about Kadarius Toney, and because for all of the bad moves that the Giants have made in the last couple of years, dishing to Kadarius Toney was not one of them.
No, drafting him in the first place wasn't great.
But but they at least admitted that they made a bad move and cut their losses versus just eating some of the sunk cost fallacy. which is one of the worst things teams can do. And
Yeah.
you got to push your ego aside and say, "Hey, I tried this; it didn't work." That's what good coaches, that's what good general managers do.
Yeah,
And that's what it's time. That's what it's time for Brett Veach is the Chiefs GM to do.
Yeah.
It's time for him to say, "Okay, this Kadarius Toney experiment did not work. We have fixed it. We're on. Goodbye."
Yeah. So a couple of things to what you said. What the Chiefs kind of reacting to last season and doing what they did this season with their wide receiver overhaul, it really reminds me of what the Pats did in 06, like after they lost in the AFC Championship game against the Colts. They didn't have any wide receivers. Like the whole offense was just predicated on tight ends and running backs and mismatches and Brady, like being Brady. And then the next year they went and got Randy Moss, they went and got Wes Welker, they got Dante Stallworth, who also was the bigger acquisition at the time. I don't know if you guys remember it, but I mean, or remember it vividly, I should say. But Stallworth was the biggest acquisition that they brought in. People thought Randy was cooked and Wes Welker wasn't. Nobody knew who he was.
He was cooked. I remember seeing that on draft day and seeing a 4th round pick for Randy Moss and saying, "Are you kidding me?" That's what I remember.
I mean, unfortunately for Randy and the rest of us, the Giants got us on 2 times, but
you guys didn't want to cheat with him. He wanted to cheat.
I guess so. I mean, hey man, I don't care. You can't take our rings away. Whatever comes out, comes out. That was one of the best lines from the roast. That was good. That was good. Why don't you guys want to cheat with me? I ain't good enough for that.
I would have cheated.
It's like, damn, I don't have one of those. It's so whack. He was such a good player, like in general, not even for the Pats. Man, it's okay. Best defensive line in NFL history. Sorry, that's what got us. It happened, and then just
David Tyree.
A couple of strokes of Eli Manning's just
Mario Manningham.
Dust. Magic. Shit. Oh, good Lord. That gets my blood pressure going. I'm going to have a heart attack when I'm like 74 because of that. But no, for real though. It reminds me of that. The Chiefs realized that they were doing something wrong. Now they've corrected the situation and the offense looks dangerous again, even though it was still good enough to win a Super Bowl last year.
Literally, yeah. That was that was the worst offense the Pats probably had, and you still got a ring out of it.
Yeah, absolutely gross. The other thing I wanted to bring up about Kadarius Toney, I was really high on the prospect. I was high on the player when he was on the Giants. Then he got traded to the Chiefs, and I was even higher on the player then. And at no point during this time have I been right. At no point. I have been wrong the whole time. I'm willing to eat crow on that. And
that's respectable.
It's okay. Like, it's okay to be wrong. I stuck through the conviction part. Now that's over. Like, we're past that. He sucks. And yeah, so we're good. I just wanted to get that out there. It's live. It's recorded. I was wrong. And that's okay. We'll be right again, possibly in a little bit. But yeah, Nolan, how about you go for it on your takeaway? We did have to get on a little bit of a tangent there. We were running a little too smooth. We were going to end the show a bit early, so we did have to get something completely off topic going.
We gotta be consistent with the over the hour mark.
Have to do it. I think we'll get right up to the hour mark this time. We don't have to get over it, but we can get right to it. Yeah. Go for it, though.
Yeah, for sure. My one takeaway from week 2, kind of going back to the NFC East, Quinion Mitchell was looking at every bit the part that Philadelphia drafted him to be. They are looking for him to be one of their stud cornerbacks in that defense, and they're really wanting him to make an impact, and I would say he did a very solid job from week 2, and I haven't seen a whole lot of discussion about that. Now, granted, there are other players on this roster for Philly that are a little bit more exciting, a little bit more glamorous. But Quinion Mitchell went out there, and I think he played his tail off. Now, he did get burnt a few times. Tyler, you can attest to that. There were a few routes that he got turned around and looked a little bit foolish. but Jacoby Brissett's throwing the ball and made it a little bit easier to where he didn't have to recover quite as much. So he did his job, though. He's really developing at a nice, steady pace, and that's what Philly's wanting from him. I know I've seen several articles out there having graded at about a B minus from week 2, which is pretty solid because that was a low scoring game against New England. And, to be able to go out there and try to stay steady and true and how you're performing is tough. And I think Quinny Mitchell deserves a little bit more love with his week 2 performance.
Yeah, no, he definitely played well there. I don't know if it was him covering him. I haven't watched the replay of the game yet, but there was one route Javon Baker tried to run a fade route, and one of the DBs on the Eagles, it might have been Mitchell, I'm not positive, but he basically owned that whole side of the field, pushed him out of bounds, and if Baker did catch the ball that may place perfectly on his hands, then it would have been an illegal touch because he just didn't keep his space. Like he got pushed off his spot. So if that was Mitchell, that's just like expert technique on playing cornerback.
Well, and one of the play where he slipped with Demario Douglas kind of cut outside and then went back inside and had him all kinds of turned around. But again, that
Douglas
was
is tough to tackle.
Interception. Yeah, that was when Brissett threw the interception to the linebacker. So I mean,
awesome. That I saw happening a mile away. I was like, he's in front of him. Don't throw that. He's in front of him. Don't throw that. You should throw it away now. And he just threw it right to the dude. I'm just like, it's awesome. So we can talk about storylines no one is talking about for week 3. I'll go first real quick. I have 2, but I'll kind of bang through them real fast. So Drake May, I think, still has a chance to win the starting job by week 1. I feel like a lot of people were on the hype train for May after, he played well the other night in the preseason game. I don't think a lot of people believe that he can start, but Gerard Mayo said everybody who's healthy is playing this Sunday for the Commanders, and no starting quarterback has been named yet. And if Jacoby Brissett goes out there and has another bad performance, because he hasn't had a great week at practice following the preseason game against the Eagles, and Drake May has had a good week of practice, if another week like that happens, and which he's having another, like he's had a good week so far, if we go into this preseason game and Brissett throws another pick or fumbles the ball and the operation looks messy, and Drake May comes out there and does everything you're supposed to do and the offense runs smoothly, like, what are we doing here? Like, I get you have a plan with your quarterback, but sometimes you need to take the plan and move it over there and start the best player and give the kid the reps he needs to develop. Practice nowadays is not as long, it's not as hard, and it's not as thought out as it used to be. So you don't get that crucial development, especially during the season when your quarterback 1 is getting 95% of the reps with the ones. Like, how are you supposed to learn and develop in the season if you're not playing? Clearly that they took a slower approach over the offseason as well. So like this is the time. I think if the same kind of thing happens, the door is definitely open for him to be the week 1 starter. This team needs to win games. I know a lot of people don't think they're going to, but like, new head coach, he's a rookie, first time. Like, we want to be able to build confidence with him, and you got to start the best players or your players aren't going to believe in you as a leader. The other thing I wanted to bring up is Jordan Whittington. He is the wide receiver on the Rams, 6th round pick. He was the forgotten receiver in Texas with Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell. He didn't put up massive numbers, but I don't know, man. Got this feeling like there's that third receiver spot in Sean McVay's offense. It's either Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, or this Jordan Whittington kid. He's looked really, really good in preseason, and Sean McVay said he is going to be an impact player for us this season. I trust when Sean McVay says things. He is one of those coaches who gives it to most people straight. Like obviously he does his coach speak stuff, but generally when he says things, he means them. I don't think this is another Puka Nakua season. Like he's not going to be wide receiver 4 overall, but I think he's going to be a really, really solid third receiver behind Cup and Puka. And once Cup kind of goes, once Cup is off this team, I think Puka and Whittington are going to be the 1-2 on this roster. And yeah, I'm staking my claim on Whittington in all of my leagues. And yeah, I think he's going to be a really good player.
Okay.
Who wants to go next? Bahuki, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. Mine kind of piggybacks off of what you were saying about Drake May here, and it kind of the first thing I said about my overreaction with the JJ McCarthy injury and the young quarterbacks not playing. One quarterback / head coach combo who's bucked that trend is Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Bo Nix has put together his second decent week in a row here. 8 or 9, 90 yards and a touchdown. That's about all you're looking for in a preseason performance right there. This was a guy that I actually got to see a little bit at the Senior Bowl. It was pretty much the same deal. Like he went out there for like a drive, went down the field, made a really nice play for a touchdown. It was honestly that same type of play that we were talking about on last week's episode with Caleb Williams, where like rolling out to the right, just as you're about to get to the sideline, come across the body, like over by the goalpost. And Bo Nix at the Senior Bowl, Bo Nix made that touchdown. And I don't know, I'm slowly starting to kind of buy into the Bo Nix type train here. Maybe that's foolish, but I think that he's got this job pretty much locked up here. He's probably one of like the most sure quarterbacks to go out there and get his numbers this year because he's going to play. And sure, he's probably going to take his lumps just as every rookie quarterback does. But
the thing about that though is Sean Payton's running offenses or plays for him that he is comfortable with. He has built his offense, like he has innovated his Sean Payton offense, which I mean generally fits the skill set of what Bo Nix does anyway, and he's kind of taken that and made Nix comfortable in his offense. That is something I don't think the Patriots are doing with Drake May right this second. Like that's what they showed you in that preseason game, but in practice they're trying to run some West Coast under center like zone running type of like which I mean I get you need some of that, but like why not run plays that the kid's comfortable with and what's it called? Maximize his skill set. So yeah, I do think Nix is going to win that starting job. It's Zach Wilson, it's Jared Stidham. Like neither one of those dudes are very good. But Nix is doing everything that's asked of him right now, and I'm a known Bo Nix hater, if you want to call me that. So I will continue to be that, but I can say that he has looked good with what they've given him, and they've done everything that they can to make him look good, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't, and Nick, to answer your question right away, I don't think Zach Wilson gets cut, but I mean, they're going to keep him around. But yeah, I think Bo Nix definitely is going to be named the starter like within the next couple of days. Like, I don't think there's even any reason for them to wait or draw it out anymore. I guess if you want to go through a couple more days of practice and make sure that everything that you saw on a real game situation kind of continues to translate into this week of practice, that's fine. But I see no reason why by Friday afternoon, Bo Nix is a QB1 on the depth chart and it's locked in and everybody's ready for it. I mean, you guys said it best. He's done everything correct. They've given him the keys and they said, here, show us what you can do with it. Show us what you can do with our twos and our threes. And also show us what you can do with a few of our starters. And he's proven himself pretty quickly. And I mean, I'm sure Denver's rather excited that they can rely on Bo Nix this quickly. and not have to go through kind of a waiting game to see if he can adjust.
Yeah. Do you want to do your storyline and then we can do the injury roundup and get out of here?
Sure can. So again, I'm loving the NFC East storylines here. Talking about my Cowboys this time, Tyler Guyton. I have loved what I've seen out of him. I think he's been one of, if not the best rookie pass blocker out of this class, at least so far through 2 weeks of games. They have thrown him kind of into the fire immediately, like a lot of these draft picks we've seen so far. Now, granted, Dallas kind of had to. You lose Tyron Smith, and you got to try to find your left tackle. That's the blind side of Dak Prescott or whoever the hell's under center in the next 2 to 3 years. Well, waiting game there, but either way, Tyler Guyton's got to be your guy over a left tackle, one of the highest graded pass blockers. Struggled a little bit on the run, gave up a few big plays here and there. That didn't look great as far as run blocking, but pass blocking has not allowed a whole lot of pressure and has just really fit the part of that left tackle, that star offensive line draft pick that the Dallas Cowboys front office seems to get every 2 to 3 years. Starting with the Zach Martin, then you had your Travis Frederick, your Tyron Smiths and company, and now it's Tyler Guyton. So I would say that he has really looked the part, and he's going to continue to do that for Dallas.
You're muted.
There we go. My bad. I like Tyler Guyton a lot coming out of the draft, and I think it was a great fit for you guys. With that, now we're going to go into the injury roundup. Wow. Real quick, Bahuki, you're on the clock in Nationwide, and Romo Dunze just fell to you at 106 in a 1 QB league.
Oh, my God.
Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we letting this happen? Come on. Like that.
I was not anticipating that.
No, nobody. You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
I was thinking about trading. I contemplated trading up for that pick.
I'm very frustrated right now, if you couldn't tell. Like really frustrated. Like I get the Nikki P just bought into the Xavier Worthy hype, which granted is high. The dude could be a stud, but
this just plays into everything we've been talking about. You know what?
Yeah,
the Bills really, really messed up. That's what happened.
You want to talk about next?
Clearly, Nikki P's watching the episode and said, "This guy does not know jack about wide receivers in the NFL."
You do know about messed up Bills players, though. So do you want to give us?
Let's talk about
Bills?
Our injury woes right now. So the biggest one, Matt Milano. I got his jersey in my closet. I wear it during the draft every year to remind Tyler how we got him. We don't fleece the Patriots often, but we did fleece the Patriots on Mike Gillislee, and we got a comp 5th round pick, which we used to get Matt Milano. And he turned out to be an all-pro player for us and is like the only guy who can kind of match up with Travis Kelce. Still can't really match up with Travis Kelce. No one can really do that one-on-one. He's about the closest thing we have that could. He's one of the best coverage linebackers in all of football. And he tore his bicep after breaking his leg last year, and he might come back in December if everything goes according to plan. Might. So this is a guy. This is as I was saying in the chat. Remember the Titans cannot replace a Gary Bertier. Cannot replace Gary Bertier. This is literally one of the leaders of our team, and this is like Trey White 2.0 right now. It's really being frustrating, man. Like really, really frustrating. And we got to count on our young guys to step up. We don't have any other option. We can't pull another $20 million out of nowhere to co-sign. Like they're in like who's left? like at this point.
Not many, especially at inside linebacker with that skill set. I mean, you're really not.
I know that at the trade deadline last year, McDermott did make a call to the Niners about Drake Greenlaw, and he was firm. He was given a quick and firm no. That's
He's
not
like,
happening.
yeah, we're not doing that.
But I know that was one of the guys that he was interested in, and I don't know. We'll see how this team looks. I picked the Bills to start the season 2-4. I think we start the first two and then lose the next four.
So what about the next two players?
Yeah, next two. So and for all the I've beat on my chest about we don't have any issues at wide receiver after Stephon Diggs left. I was like, we got all these new player profiles. Our wide receiver room is more diverse than it's ever been. We have all these different types of athletes, and now they're all getting hurt, and we don't have them like I thought we did. Specifically Curtis Samuel with his turf toe, because that's an injury that can be nagging. Abolish turf, get rid of it, fire turf into the sun, play on natural grass. And then
that's going to be the agenda for you for this year.
The Bills are one of the teams who have turf on their current field. Their new stadium will rectify that problem. It's going to be natural grass, turf on the sidelines, and they're also going to have electric coils that go under the field that heat up to prevent the ground from freezing. So the ground won't freeze in the winter. But until 2026, this is what we got. And hate turf. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, another guy, a big body guy, like a guy with size. You can't coach size and speed. And we weren't paying this guy to be our number one wide receiver, but he was a guy with size, and it was a specific player profile we were looking for. We have him and Keon Coleman, and Mac Hollins is kind of a big guy too. But now this guy's he has a neck sprain and is out for at least a couple weeks. Another one that I don't have listed on there, which is I don't know the extent of it, but DeMar Hamlin, because our safety depth, Cole Bishop had an injury, is coming back. Mike Edwards had a hamstring injury. All of the biggest issue with our team right now is our safety depth, in my opinion. The wide receiver room is a little shaky too, but our safety depth after losing Hyde and Poyer, that's really the part of our team I'm most worried about. And we've brought in some new guys, and none of them have stayed healthy. So we've really just had a bunch of rotating pieces throughout camp, and we have no continuity there right now.
Yeah, that's never what you really want. I don't think we talked about this last week, but this happened last week. Rondale Moore, he is on the IR. He is out for the rest of the season with a leg injury. Obviously, JJ McCarthy tore his meniscus and is also out for the entire regular season. So yeah, those are kind of the injuries that we've had up
there
until
is
this
one more,
point.
Tyler.
Oh, there is?
So Rappaport just tweeted this out about 30 minutes ago. Colts tight end Jelani Woods, he's having turf toe surgery as well. So he's out indefinitely, was looking to kind of have a bounce back year. Had those hamstring issues all of last season that really hurt him. Had a
dudes
chance
that size. Dudes that size, it's just tough for them to stay healthy in such a physical game.
Yep.
You look at that size as like a plus factor, but at the same time, when you're like that freak of a body build and athletic profile, sometimes the body just can't hold up with the sport.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's definitely shitty. We never really want to see that. Did you guys actually, real quick? We have another minute and a half here, but did you guys see what Tua said about Brian Flores, about him being a terrible person today?
Did, yeah. Said that he didn't deserve his job or didn't deserve to be the starting quarterback and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Flores thought that him doing that would motivate Tua, because he's a hard-nosed defensive-minded coach, and Tua, that he just was wrong on that, and Tua took it, and now he's talking about it, and it was a bad mistake by Flores. I don't think he was doing it like, I mean, I'm not there, obviously. I don't know how he was doing it exactly, but he coached here for a while. A lot of the players here respected him and didn't have those same issues. So, I don't know. I don't think he was meaning any ill intent, but yeah, Tua slammed him. Tua slammed him bad.
Did you know that the Dolphins won 19 games in Flores' last 2 seasons, and they've won 20 games in McDaniel's first 2 seasons?
Yeah, no, Flores. They were a good team with Flores. It just didn't match what like now your offense is elite, but your defense is still getting beat, and your offense is only really great when you're at home or when you're not in the cold. So yeah, we didn't really touch on that. Thought it was interesting kind of thing. You don't really see people get called out like that nowadays, but yeah, I'm interested to kind of see how that story unfolds. But do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I think it was a good episode. I think we touched on what we needed to. One more week of this preseason junk, and we'll be getting into predictions and really talking about the real shebang here and getting what we like to do.
Yeah.
Talking about real football.
Football that counts. That's all we can hope for, right? So thank you for everybody who was watching, everybody who commented, who listened.
Thank you for the comments, Nick. Honestly, thank you.
It drives good discussion, buddy. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Catch all of our articles at stadiumrant.com. And follow our socials at Stadium Rant HQ on Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, the whole 9 yards. You can follow us at that handle. Catch Nolan, catch Pahuki. They do stuff for us all the time and on their own socials. Yeah. So another great week of Fifth Down Territory, and we're really close, guys. Thanks for hanging on through this off season. We have a great season that we're going to cover soon.